am Kara Fox. I am the LGS ambassador for California and the Western Regional Coordinator. But we're going to keep this session pretty informal, and it's really just going to be a discussion. Talk about our journeys. If you guys have any questions or things you want to share. I think we're just going to keep, Natalie and I are going to keep it pretty simple. Here, we can sit down. So my son, Julian, is 11, and he is starting puberty. So precocious puberty is pretty common in LGS. I have a friend, her daughter started puberty at like 8 or 9, and like you hear about kids getting their girls getting their periods younger, and Julian, just funny story because he's trying to keep it light. I'm just going to keep it real honest here. His first boner, he was like 10, and he has like few words. I took his diaper off, and he goes, look, and it freaked me out, and I had to call my other moms, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. And, I'm a single mom, so I didn't have his dad to ask, so I was calling other moms, like, what? I think I might have called Christina, what do I do? I don't know what to do with this puberty thing, and, he has little hairs now, and the school just told me, you need to start putting deodorant on him. I'm like, oh my God, like, it's just so, yeah. So anyway, so that's quickly my story. Natalie.
So I'm Natalie Gilmore, and we have an 18-year-old daughter. So we've sort of been through that whole cycle and change, and I think on like a good regime now, but it definitely is shocking, and it's something that I think you don't solve overnight. And especially when you throw in seizures with it. We've tried different like birth controls and things because I think, early on then when Lily actually did get her period, it was like leading up to it. And then we're like, oh my God, here it is. Like, wow, she was so regular. And it's like, of course, like everything that she's going through. And, it's right, on the day that she's supposed to be getting it every single month, there she is, but it's a lot, but it didn't, I think for us, it wasn't something that got solved overnight. And there were a lot of conversations with our doctors. We ended up trying some birth control pills, but we had to be very cautious because they do interact with a lot of the seizure medicines. So it's definitely something you want to be able to talk to your doctors and physicians about. She now gets the depot shot, which actually has been great for her, but that also is not for everyone. So for me, when people ask me what we've done and what I recommend, it's definitely a conversation you want to be having with your doctors. And, we see a specialist as a gynecologist, and she also specializes in women with epilepsy. So, we see her every year, and it's great because she'll just be like, okay, what new meds, is Lily on? And where are you? And, is this working? Isn't it working? So I feel like it's like we're in a good zone right now, but, they had us going 6 months, with her, to see if her periods were regular and all of that. And, they were, like I said, but, it just, it was a lot to manage, too. And, it was gross. And, it just, the whole thing was a lot. So I think it's definitely, whether you have a boy or a girl, it's a lot to think about.
So we did.
So, guys have questions?
What I wanted to do was so we're early in our puberty journey. They're further along. So I just want to see where everybody's at. Can you raise your hand if your child is in like pre-puberty, like where we're at? Okay, like approaching. Who's like well in the puberty journey? Okay, so so you could I could learn from you guys, especially you guys. But wait, she had a question first. Yeah. Okay.
We started with the pediatrician, and they sort of brought it up to us. And then from there, we sort of tried to devise a little bit of like a plan, because it took like 2 years or something before she like actually got her period. But I think she was close to like 12 or 13. And then from there, then we talked about going to a specialist. We were sort of like in the middle of switching doctors, and we had hospitalizations, and so our plan got like completely blown out of the water, and the people we were going to see weren't the doctors that we ended up seeing and all. But then we had a new neurologist, and it was something that I discussed with them because I knew we had this appointment coming up, and so I wanted to know from them what they thought. But I think you should mention it probably to like all of your doctors, because it's definitely, sort of, you need to know different options, and depending on what meds or whether you're going to do anything or not. I mean, for us, I was like, I need to try and contain this like period every month, and like if we don't have to have that, that would be awesome. We did go 6 months, and and so the other thing, right, that's a good point, that so our doctors had us go 6 months, to see whether it was going to affect her seizures or not. And it did. It escalated her seizures, and then I had 6 months of tracking, and, I used an app, like a period app, and so I knew exactly when she was going to get it, and I took diligent notes. So I definitely would recommend, like, all of that. So just you're gathering your own data on all of this. And then it was just like, she, in a month span, it's like on top of her usual horrible seizures, then she was having this like buildup of seizures. And then the week of her period was just like hideous, because she would sit like, I can just remember like coming down for breakfast with her, and she would just be like at her table, like, oh. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she probably has cramps, and she's nonverbal. She can't tell us any of that. She felt horrible. I'm saying to my husband, like, us ladies don't make this up. Like, we feel horrible. Like, he's like, oh my God, like, I see that. So at least like from that, and then I knew, I was like, God, we have to do something, because it's just like she was having maybe like, 2 days in the month where it was like, okay, well now maybe we're feeling okay, and we're not being blasted by extra seizures. But that's not the case for everyone. I think you can get through the whole process, and it like won't affect your daughter's seizures. So you just sort of, I think, like have to, like everything else, it is a little bit of trial and error, and you have to just sort of evaluate what it's like, and then, weigh whether you want to, do something or not. So like when she started having her period, that's when we started seeing the gynecologist. But we just talk. No, we just sit and talk, and Lily has, we're just like sitting there like we're here. No, they don't do anything. But we just did go, like a couple months ago, and I think she did say at a certain age, like I think it was like 25 or something, that she did have to do, some exams, which is a little horrifying. Yes. Oh, wow.
Gosh, 6?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm just I'm gonna ask Jeannie, do you mind sharing your story a little bit, just for the boys? Yeah.
Jackson's 9, and he started puberty about a year ago, maybe a little longer, and we had noticed hair growth, so we went to our neurologist and we're like, "You think this is like from the meds?" And he was like, "No, I don't think so." And so we're like, "Okay." So then he had like a physical or something, and I told his pediatrician, and she examined him, and she was like, "We'll just keep an eye on it." But then she called me a couple weeks later on a Friday night, and she called me 3 times. I usually don't answer. And she was like, "I just can't stop thinking about this. I think you need to go see an endocrinologist, because I just don't think it's right." And so we did, and here, like, his testosterone is the adult level of a male. And so then it was like, well, why is this? Is there something on his pituitary gland? So we did like ultrasounds all over down here, MRI, everything's normal. So now we're back to then maybe it is just from the medicine, and there's no statistics or anything that say that. But if you poll the LGS community, a lot of people will say, oh yeah, early puberty for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old is your son? Yeah.
put it that way. But he's had hair forever, and I was like, don't they kind of correlate together? And he's like, no. But now it's like major behaviors. All this increased seizure activity, major behaviors, and nobody can control the behaviors.
I never even did. Has anyone else gone to see an endocrinologist? Oh, really? Okay. I had never even considered that. I'm going home. So what are the benefits for that? Oh, okay. I haven't even mentioned it to our neuro, so I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great suggestion.
Testosterone could be some of his aggression.
Uh,
Always engaged and he's
Like a build up,
And then
right?
constantly eating, so like,
have most people noticed behavior increases with puberty? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's super common.
What kind of behaviors do you see?
Just frustration all the time because he's not verbal, so he's constantly throwing things all the time. His patience is very short. So if you like say no to him or something, it's like you better back away because he's gonna hit you.
Oh, wow.
And he's so short, so but he's got evolved so much, I'll tell you.
My son just turned 12, and I'm seeing like peach fuzz right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in the last couple months,
So
I
we
was
haven't
like,
had any of that yet. Thank
what
God.
is this?
I know that's what I'm worried about. I'm just going like, what happens when you have to start shaving them and stuff?
Actually, what do people do about that? Electric shaver? Do you guys shave? Yeah.
Mine doesn't even like his hair.
A shaver. Oh, 27-year-old? Oh, wow.
Wow, yeah.
Going through this puberty thing. 13, his body's surging with hormones, but mentally sick. So
Yeah.
so
That's
frustrated, and he can snap from 0 to 60 like that. And he's a big, strong kid.
And so what have your doctors sort of said to all of this?
No, he's going
Yeah.
to counseling because, I mean, he's really a good-looking guy, but he stares at all girls of all ages from 3 to 93, and it's kind of creepy. It really is creepy.
that is actually a concern of mine too.
If it didn't look so normal, it wouldn't be bad, but people don't like it. So I go to counselor, and so now we use this. If you see him staring at me like, okay, Robert, 3 seconds, you just got to redirect,
Yeah.
which it's helping.
Oh, that's good.
He's frustrated. He doesn't know what's
Yeah.
No.
No. Yeah,
That's
that's such a challenge. Yeah. I'm concerned about that as well. My son loves girls, right? Loves them and flirts with them. It's appropriate now. But I don't think he's going to grow up and still be at that place. So, and I know people have this discussion has, gets brought up on Facebook. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
transit one day, and he asked one of the girls, "You want to see my penis?"
Oh, no. It's a problem.
I know.
Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh.
My son trying to mouth kiss everyone. I think we've had to tell him to stop doing it to me because he doesn't discriminate.
Right. So it's like anyone that he runs into.
Older people are not going to put up with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a point where it won't be accepted.
Yeah, exactly. Socially, it won't be.
I know. It's definitely a struggle.
when they're nonverbal, though, it's like you don't want to take away this affection.
I know.
I know.
I know.
We reach out to him to kiss our cheek at least. So it's like he'll come out and try to grab my lips. I'm like, no, here. And even though he's my kid, I just don't. He won't discriminate. So you have to teach him.
Yeah.
Or high fives, and, and stuff like that. But
I mean, so you were saying your son has no interest. Mine definitely. Oh, it never grows. My son definitely has an interest. He's still in diapers, but as soon as that diaper goes off, dude, the hand is there. Yeah, and so trying to teach, like, how do you teach appropriate behavior? Like, what if something happens at school or like that? Have you guys dealt with this before? You. Oh, that's a great. She asked if are any of the girls interested. Is it?
Goes to classes during the day, and there's some very frisky girls there.
How do you deal with that?
That class though.
Right. So they're dealing
So
with it.
they're dealing with it.
No, one day
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Well, we told him you talked to him. Well, deal with it now. It's like, wait till your father gets home, right?
yeah.
Wow. God.
Oh my. I don't think her question got answered. Do any girls who are interested? Lily's not interested, right? No, yeah. Sorry. Are you seeing that?
I know, right.
Oh,
She did.
what? Oh, actually, it can. So I have a friend. Her daughter's 9. She tells me like if her daughter's very interested, and she has a hard time. Like she keeps her fingernails short because she's like her hands are in her pants all the time. I know, pants in her pants. So it's great that we have this community of people to talk about because this, it's yeah. Question. Yeah. Yeah. Right, right. I know it's individualized, but. Oh, that's awesome. That is a great idea. Did you guys all hear that? She made a social story. Am I explaining that right? Okay, basically like this: what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Nobody should touch you. And they made was it like a book? She's saying it's individualized, but that's a great idea. Yeah, I actually let my lunch. Oh, it's lunchtime. Oh, okay. We can, but I think we can. If those who are interested want to continue this discussion at lunch. I mean, now we know each other in the room. Who's going through this? I want to talk to you more. But yes, thank you. I actually let my son attend his school's puberty talk, even though I was like, he might get something out of it. 5th grade. So I was like, I think he could gain something. He was with the typical kids, but it can't hurt.